I recently posted on my Facebook page some bracelets that I made and asked if you would like a video tutorial on how to make them, and they're really easy, and it's with leftover crochet cotton. So I decided to do this video tutorial on how to make these simple and really pretty wrap bracelets. So what you're going to need is a piece of fishing line, and this may be hard to see, but how you're going to measure your fishing line is just going to take it between your thumb and finger here, and you're going to wrap it loosely 3 times around your wrist and then come back up to your thumb. And then you're going to want another 3 or 4 inches. Best to be on the safe side, maybe do 4 or 5 inches. So that's how you get your fishing line, which is going to be the length of your bracelet. Then you're going to need a little piece of crochet cotton that's about 12 inches long. And you're also going to need 2 pieces of crochet cotton that are 6 times longer than your piece of fishing line. So I have these folded up here, and these are both 6 times when I unravel them. So we want 2 pieces 6 times longer than the fishing line. You're also going to need some beads, and it really doesn't matter what size. These are 4 by 6 millimeter roundels, and something that you're going to use for a button. I'm using these little shells. You can use another large bead or just a button. I'm also using just this piece of scrap lumber, which I screwed down a little clamp here, and I have another clamp at the bottom. You can also just use a clipboard and get an additional clamp to clamp down the bottom. Okay, so you take your crochet cotton and you find the center of the 2 pieces, put it all together, and you want to find the center. So once you have the center piece, you're going to see what size you're going to need to put your button through. You want it to fit sort of snug, but not too tight. Okay. Now once you find the center, and this is going to be your buttonhole, just grab one side of the buttonhole, just one side here, and place your fishing line over that side with a little bit of maybe 2 inches of overlap, as well as this other short piece, and we're going to line that up with the fishing line. Okay. So we're going to hold that at the point where it's going to be the base of the buttonhole, and we're going to knot all of these pieces together, just one knot. Just a regular knot. Okay, so that's going to be one side of your buttonhole. Now what you're going to do is just do, I don't know what this is called. Just wind it around your finger like this with the knot at the base of your finger, and then bring the new knots that you're doing down to the knot you just made. So you're reaching through and grabbing. So I'm taking it like this, reaching through and grabbing, which makes it almost like a braid. I'm just going to continue along, pull it tight. You just want to check it from time to time to make sure you're not getting too big. Let's give this a test. Okay, so that should be perfect. So once you get the right length to fit around your button of choice, you just take the final last loop and pull everything all the way through. Now you're going to bring both sides together and knot all of it together. Make sure you bring your knot right to the base of the braid that you just did. Pull it tight. And then you can trim off any little ends here. Be sure not to trim your fishing line. And there you have your buttonhole. Okay, so now you want to clamp your buttonhole into the clamp here. And separate your strings from side to side. Then we're going to thread on some beads onto the fishing line that's in the center here. Doesn't really matter how many at first. I usually start with about 10 beads. So we have our beads on the fishing line here. Let's just zoom out a little bit. And then I'm going to clamp the other end of the fishing line down to the bottom, just to get a tight hold. Okay, so now we're going to start knotting at the top. So we're going to take our double crochet cotton and go over the fishing line in the middle. So we're going to go over, and then we're going to take this side and go over and hold onto your fishing line and come up through. It's just a square knot, and if you can't see this, I'm sure there's lots of other tutorials online where you can see a square knot, so that's what we're just going to do. And then to finish the square knot, the next part of it is to go under the fishing line, and then to bring this thread on this side under this one, and then pick it up and come through. And tie it tight. So we're going over the fishing line, over this line, and up through. Then under, and through. So we just finished 2 square knots. Over, over, and up. Under, and through. Okay, so then I just put 3 square knots here, and then I'll bring up a bead and continue on doing the same, over, over and up, under, and through. Over, over and up, under and through. And I'm just going to put 2 square knots between each bead. You can put 1, you can put 3, you can put as many as you want. The more square knots you use, the less beads you'll need to use. So we'll slide up another bead and continue on. And that's all that's to it. 1, 2, over, over, and up, and under, under, and through. That's one square knot. Over, over, and up. Under, under, and through. So I'm just going to continue on for the full length of the bracelet. And then I'll show you how to tie off your button on the end. Now once you run out of beads, just unclamp the bottom and thread on more beads. And since you're getting down near the bottom, just unclamp the top here where you had it on your buttonhole and bring it up in between two beads and clamp down and reclamp the bottom and continue working. Okay, so when you're nearing the end, you're going to want to take it off and just make sure that it fits around your wrist. So hold your buttonhole down and put it around your wrist the number of times you're going to need it. And then just see if it lines up, which it does here now. So I finished with the bead and 2 square knots. And now I'm just going to tie 1 overhand knot. And bring everything through, including the fishing line. Bring it right down to the last knot there. And tighten it all up. Just pull the strings to tighten it up. And I want to get my fishing line to the center again. There we go. And get the button. So I'm just going to thread the button on. And then bring it around and do a couple of slip knots over the knot we just did, over the overhand knot. Just going to bring it right down next to the button. Just slip it over. There you go. And we're going to go through again, through the buttonhole with the fishing line. And another slip knot along the base there. And I'm just going to keep doing this to reinforce it through the buttonhole, through the loop, and pull it tight over the knot. I'm probably going to do this 5 or 6 times. Get it good and sturdy. Now I'm just going to tie it off on these leftover strings here as well. Just keep tying. Okay. Should be nice and strong there now. So we can clip off any remaining fishing line. So once the fishing line is all tied off and trimmed, I'm just going to take any leftover crochet cotton and just make a loop. Put the button through the loop and pull it tight. And I'm going to do this a couple of times as well. Line it up so it looks nice. And that'll reinforce that. Then one last knot. Just gonna open our 2 strings. And go around this way. And tie it off. Now I think this is knotted enough, but if you still want to reinforce it more, you can put a little glue on the ends once you trim them off. There we go. And just trim off our ends. And our bracelet is done. So here we have it. Fits through well and stays in place. We can wind it around, pull that through. So here it is. It was pretty easy to make, a great way to use up the ends of your crochet cotton when you have a little bit left over and you really don't have enough for a large project. Just a nice little wrap bracelet. Can be done with any beads and any type of crochet cotton. This kind with the little silver thread going through it is quite pretty. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make a wrap bracelet from your crochet cotton.